Ladies, we often think love just happens. But the truth is, before a man truly falls in love, consciously or not, he puts a woman through a series of hidden tests. These are mind games most of the time. He doesn't even know he's doing it. But they help him decide, is she the one I can trust with my heart? Before love can bloom, a man quietly observes whether he can respect you. He pays close attention to how you carry yourself, how you interact with others, and how you handle tension or disagreement. It's not about being perfect, but about being grounded. If you know your worth, communicate with kindness, and set healthy boundaries without being harsh or apologetic, it sends a powerful message. You're showing him that you don't need to be chased or validated. You know who you are. Respect starts with how you treat yourself. If you're constantly second-guessing, over-explaining, or seeking approval, it signals that your value depends on his reaction. That actually makes it harder for him to feel a genuine connection. But when you hold space for your own opinions, stay calm in your truths, and respond to pressure with confidence rather than panic, he sees something rare. He sees a woman who won't shrink to make someone else feel big, and that naturally earns his admiration. A man also notices how you treat the people around you. Do you speak with kindness about others even when they are not present? Are you patient with those who can't give you anything in return? These small moments reveal your character. And when he sees integrity in your everyday actions, it builds a quiet but unshakable trust. Respect isn't just about how you carry yourself around him, it's about how you carry yourself everywhere. In the end, this test isn't about passing or failing. It's about alignment. If you already live with self-respect, emotional awareness, and inner strength, you're not trying to impress anyone, you're just being real. And that authenticity doesn't just earn his respect. It becomes the reason he starts to fall. Emotional safety is one of the most underrated yet powerful things a man seeks before he allows himself to fall in love. No matter how confident or strong he appears on the outside, deep down he craves a space where he doesn't have to perform, impress, or early in connection. He might test this by revealing something small, frustration at work, a moment of doubt, or a childhood insecurity. It may seem like a casual comment, but it's often a subtle way of asking, can I trust you with the softer parts of me? How you respond in that moment matters more than you think. If you rush to fix the problem, downplay it, or make it about yourself, it sends a message that his vulnerability isn't safe with you. On the other hand, if you're simply present, listening without judgment, allowing him to feel what he's feeling without needing to solve it, you create a space of emotional acceptance. That experience is rare for many men, especially those who have grown up believing they have to be stoic or emotionally self-reliant. He may not consciously say, "Does she makes me feel safe?" But he'll feel in his nervous system. He'll relax around you. He'll find himself opening up more, sharing things he hasn't told others. Emotional safety is what allows love to deepen. Because real intimacies isn't built on charm or chemistry, it's built on trust. If a man feels like he can be fully seen and still fully accepted, that's when love stops being a possibility and becomes a choice. This isn't about being his therapist or always being the strong one. It's about showing him, through your calm presence, that he doesn't have to armor up his with you. When he sees that he can show weakness without being judged or pitied, something shifts inside him. He doesn't just admire you, he starts to feel emotionally connected. And that connection, grounded in safety, becomes the foundation for everything that comes next. The pressure test is one that many women don't even realize they're part of. A man might be enjoying the connection, feeling the chemistry, and genuinely liking where things are going. The moment he senses that he's being rushed into a label until a commitment or a certain timeline, something inside him starts to resist. It's not because he doesn't care. It's because love, for him, needs to feel like a choice, not a demand. He wants to feel that the connection is growing naturally, not being measured by how fast it's moving. When a woman constantly asks where things are going, compares the relationship to others, or drops hints about exclusivity too early, it can create emotional pressure that interrupts the organic flow of connection. The irony is, the more you try to secure commitment from him before he's ready, the more he starts to doubt if it's really about him or just about having someone . That fear causes him to pull back not because he wants to play games, but because he's not feeling free to choose love on his own terms. The woman who passes this test is the one who enjoys the process more than the outcome. She's present, engaged, and emotionally available. She's also grounded in her own life. She's not trying to rush into a relationship to feel validated. She knows her worth whether he calls her his girlfriend or not. And that self-assured energy is what draws him in more deeply. When he feels that he has space to move, a pace that feels right, that's when he feels safe choosing something real. Men fall in love in space, not in pressure, if you allow the connection to unfold without constantly needing to define it. He begins to crave more closeness. Not because he's being told he should, but because he genuinely wants to. And that shift from obligation to desire is where true love begins. When love is allowed to breathe, it thrives. When it's forced to fit a mold too soon, it suffocates. The independence test is one of the most attractive and powerful ways a man gauges whether he's falling for someone. Without even realizing it, he pays close attention to how full your life is outside of him. He notices whether you have goals, passions, routines, and relationships that matter to you, that continue to exist and thrive whether he's texting you or not. Independence isn't about being distant or uninterested. It's about showing that your world doesn't collapse without his constant presence. When a woman centers her entire emotional world around a man early on, it may feel flattering at first, but eventually it becomes overwhelming. It creates pressure on him to be the source of her happiness, her purpose, and her self-esteem. That kind of dependency doesn't build attraction, it builds exhaustion. On the other hand, when a woman is clearly fulfilled in her own life and simply includes him rather than depend on him. He sees someone who adds value, not someone who drains it. A woman with independence carries a certain energy. She's present and warm when she's with him, but she doesn't abandon her identity in the process. She's got plans. She's passionate about things that have nothing to do with the relationship, and she knows how to be happy on her own. That energy is magnetic. It makes a man lean in because he realizes she's not there out of need, she's there out of desire. And when love feels like a choice, not a requirement, it becomes something he respects deeply. What really seals the connection is that independence doesn't mean shutting him out. It means she knows who she is, and she invites him into that world rather than waiting to be completed. He begins to admire her life, not just her beauty. He doesn't feel the pressure to be her everything. He feels the excitement of being her something meaningful. That's when he begins to imagine a real future, walking beside someone who doesn't need him, but genuinely wants him. The way someone handles conflict reveals more about their emotional maturity than any romantic gesture ever could. When a man is getting to know you, he's not just observing how you behave when things are going well, he's also quietly noticing how you respond when things don't go your way. Do you stay calm and express how you feel with clarity and care? Or do you become reactive, shut down, or lash out when tension rises? These moments are subtle tests, and they matter more than we realize. They show him what a long-term relationship with you might actually look and feel like when life inevitably brings challenges. Everyone can be kind and affectionate during the good times, but real compatibility is tested in moments of disagreement or emotional discomfort. If you instantly go into attack mode, bring up unrelated past issues, or aim to win instead of understand, it creates emotional distance and instability. It tells him that conflict might lead to chaos, not connection. On the other hand, if you can pause, take a breath, and speak from a place of honesty rather than blame, he feels safer even in the middle of an argument. That emotional regulation doesn't just earn respect, it builds trust. Men don't expect perfection. They know everyone gets upset or overwhelmed sometimes. What they're looking for is someone who is willing to work through the tough moments in a way that still honors the relationship. A woman who can say, "But this hurt me, but I still care about us," or "Pine needs some time, but I want to work through this." It shows emotional intelligence and partnership. Those are the qualities that make a man feel like he's with someone who won't just celebrate the highs, but also stand steady through the lows. Ultimately, the conflict test isn't about avoiding problems, it's about revealing how you handle them. If you respond to challenges with patience, empathy, and clear communication, he begins to see you as someone he can truly build with. Love isn't about finding someone who never disagrees with you. It's about finding someone who will hold your hand and face the disagreement without letting go. That's the kind of love that lasts. The jealousy test is one of the more subtle ways a man gauges your emotional security. Without even being aware of it, he might bring up another woman in conversation, maybe a female friend, a colleague, or even an ex, it's rarely done with bad intentions. More often, it's a way of observing how you respond when you feel the possibility of competition. He's not hoping to make you jealous. He is watching how grounded you are in your sense of self when the spot briefly shifts. When a woman reacts with insecurity, becomes defensive, or starts comparing herself to the other woman, it reveals a lack of internal confidence. This might show us of as sarcastic comments, dismissiveness, or subtle digs that from feeling threatened. What this tells him, even and intentionally, is that her confidence is conditional. It wavers depending on who else is in the room. And if your self-worth feels unstable, it makes him second-guess the emotional strength of the connection. The women who pass test don't flinch when another name is mentioned. They don't go quiet, change their tone, or get passive-aggressive. Instead, they stay relaxed, curious, and even engaging. Why? Because they know who they are. They understand that their value isn't diminished just because someone else exists. This quiet confidence is magnetic, tells him that she's secure, emotionally mature, and not operating from a place of fear or competition. That kind of response is rare, and it stands out. What a man truly wants is to be with someone who isn't easily shaken. Not because she's trying to act tough or indifferent, but because she knows her worth on a deep level. When he sees that you don't crumble or compete at the mention of someone else, he begins to feel more trust in the emotional space between you. He doesn't just respect you, he starts to admire you. And admiration is often the bridge between attraction and real love. Support is one of the most powerful forces in a relationship. And a man will quietly test whether you're the kind of person who believes in him, especially when he's uncertain. He might casually mention a dream, a goal, or something he's working toward that feels risky or uncertain. In those moments, he's not just looking for your opinion, he's listening to the tone of your response. Are you dismissive, doubtful, or quick to point out what could go wrong? Or do you lean in with curiosity and show him that you see potential even when the outcome isn't guaranteed? Many men have been conditioned to carry the weight of being the provider, the leader, or the one who always knows what to do. But the truth is they also fear self-doubt and anxiety, especially when chasing something they deeply care about. When he opens up about something vulnerable like a career change, a passion project, or a setback, he's handing you a piece of his heart. How you hold that moment matters. If you speak with belief, encouragement, and warmth, it leaves a lasting emotional imprint. It tells him, I see who you are, and I believe in what you can become. This doesn't mean blind cheerleading or pretending everything will be perfect. It means showing that you trust his character and resilience, as is, even when the path ahead isn't clear. You become a partner, not just a presence. A woman who can hold space for a man's vision and remind him of his strength during a moment of weakness becomes unforgettable to him. That kind of support is rare, and it binds people in a way that physical attraction alone never could. He starts to associate your presence with inner strength, stability, and belief and that makes him want to grow with you. Men fall in love with how they feel about themselves when they're around you. If he feels more courageous, more capable, and more grounded in your presence, he won't want to lose that. You become the voice that quiets his doubt, the anchor when his confidence shakes, and when he sees that you're not just beside him when things are going well, but especially when they're uncertain. You don't just earn his affection, you earn his loyalty. At some point in the early stages of a connection, a man may naturally take a step back. This might come after a string of consistent conversations or dates, and suddenly he seems quieter, a little more distant, or less available. It's tempting to assume he's losing interest, but often this space isn't a sign of withdrawal, it's a test, conscious or not. He's checking to see how you respond when things aren't moving full speed ahead. Do you chase him, bombard him with messages, or get anxious and demand reassurance? Or do you stay calm, grounded, and respectful of his need for a breather? Men don't usually respond well to emotional pressure, especially in the early stages of building something real. If he senses that his temporary pullback causes you to spiral or start questioning everything, he sees that your security is tied too closely to his attention. That kind of dynamic can quickly feel overwhelming, making him feel more responsible for your emotional state than he's ready to be. But if you're able to maintain your energy, focus on your own life, and stay warm and receptive rather than reactive, it tells him something powerful, emotionally steady. The space is less about what you say and more about the energy you hold. When a man sees that you trust the connection enough to give it breathing room, he starts to feel a deeper level of respect. He realizes that your happiness doesn't rely on constant contact, and that makes you incredibly attractive. You become someone who brings peace, not pressure. That's the kind of emotional atmosphere he wants to return to because he has to, but because it feels good to be in. What makes this test so significant is that it happens silently. He may not even realize he's doing it, but he always notices how it feels to come back. If you handled the distance with grace and confidence, he feels more drawn to you. It tells him not just looking for attention, capable of hold space without losing yourself. And that balance of closeness and independence is exactly what makes love feel safe, exciting, and lasting. Integrity is one of the quietest yet most powerful qualities a man looks for when deciding if he can truly fall in love. It's not about how you act when everything is going right, but how consistently you show up in everyday situations. He watches the little things, whether you keep your word, how you treat people who can't do anything for you, and how honest you are in situations where it would be easier to bend the truth. These aren't dramatic moments, but they are incredibly telling. They help him understand what kind of person you are beneath the surface. When a woman speaks kindly about others, even when they're not around, it shows strength of character. If you handle difficult conversations with maturity and don't get caught in gossip or unnecessary drama, you stand out. It tells him that you're not only trustworthy, but also emotionally stable. He doesn't just notice how you treat him, he watches how you treat the waiter, the friend who interrupts a conversation, or the family member who frustrates you. These moments are subtle, but they create a picture of who you truly are. Consistency is where real attraction grows. A woman who is aligned in her values and actions builds quiet confidence in a man's mind. It allows him to relax, because he knows he's not going to wait one day and realize she was only putting on a front. Integrity makes him feel secure not just emotionally, but in bigger picture of life. He starts to see that you're someone who would handle partnership, commitment, and even parenthood with a steady hand and a clear heart. The kind of vision to come from charm it comes from character. Ultimately, love built on integrity is love that lasts. A man may be drawn to beauty or chemistry at first, but he stays for the woman whose actions match her words. When he sees that kindness is real, your honesty is consistent, and your values are strong, something shifts in him. You become more than someone he's dating. You become someone he can build a life with. And that quiet, unwavering sense of the trust becomes the foundation of a deep and lasting love. Joy is one of the most attractive qualities a person can bring into a relationship. Before a man truly falls in love, he subconsciously asks himself a simple but powerful question. Do I feel good when I'm around her? It's not about whether you make him laugh nonstop or entertain him with exciting stories. It's about the emotional atmosphere you carry with you. When you're genuinely content, emotionally present, and connected to your own life, it creates a sense of lightness that draws him in without effort. Many people unknowingly, they believe they need to impress someone to earn their love. They try to be interesting, agreeable, or whatever they think the other person wants. But joy doesn't come from performance, it comes from authenticity. A woman who is happy from within, who can enjoy the little things, bring a calm, positive energy into the room, becomes memorable. She's not trying to be anyone else. She's simply enjoying her own life and letting others feel the warmth of that energy. That kind of presence is incredibly comforting and irresistible. When a man spends time with someone who radiates joy, he starts to associate her with happiness, peace, and relief from the outside world. He looks forward to seeing her. Not because what she gives him or does for him, but because he feels better just by being near her. That emotional connection builds over time and becomes something he doesn't want to lose. The more he connects her presence with a sense of ease and positivity, the more he naturally starts to fall not out of pressure or logic, but from the emotional bond forming without words. At the end of the day, love isn't always about shared interests or perfect compatibility. It's about how someone makes you feel in their presence. If you live with joy, express gratitude, and stay grounded in who you are, you become the woman he doesn't, just like being with you, become the one who makes his world feel brighter. And in that brightness, love begins to grow quietly, deeply, and without resistance.